Okay, we back, man. So this is a conversation that I know some people are running from, but we gotta have it. Like I said, J. Cole dropped May 14th, 2021. Drake dropped within the same year. If you've been watching Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast out last year, I was saying I would love for Kendrick to fall up in there. So we have to be forced to kind of rank him. He didn't fall within the that year, but he did fall within a year time frame of the album. He dropped May 13th, 2021. So as I absorbed it, after we listened, we gave our individual feedbacks on each album. It's time now to really look at the top three. I mean, I don't know when the next time we're going to get something like this where they drop within 1 year of each other, and we get to truly like, hey, who put out the best product in your opinion? And it's gonna be strictly our opinion on this. You know what I mean? This is what how we feel going back listening to it. You could probably have something totally different. You probably will. Put your comments down there. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us why we're right. And yeah. So like I said, some people I know Cash is leaning towards now. Like, why we got to sit here and do this? Because it's hip hop. It's what we do.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, do you want me to lead the way with just because I want to go into it in terms of just how I feel overall about all the projects in like a quick summary of each of them, and then I'll kind of get into where I'm at number three, and then you could do your number three. That fair?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. We'll discuss each one of the albums. We'll talk about what we do. I know you're gonna put up here somewhere where they got the links to where we done spoke on all these albums before. It'll be up here if you're watching on YouTube. I ain't gonna have it up for the tomorrow's episode, but I will eventually insert that link into or give you the episodes that we
We
spoke on
talked
those
about
albums.
the
So
albums.
if you want to hear the long-winded version of us speaking on each one of the albums, which we have each gave them each their time in the sun, uh, gave them their praises and everything else too. So now this is us just like analyzing against the other ones. So like I said,
Yeah. So for me, man, I'll go back to the first one. So the J. Cole came out first, out the gate. He was the first one to set it off in terms of the big dogs where everybody anticipates it and really does their thing. And I think from just the lead up, the middle child and all the different songs that was kind of coming out, the Lucy's with Cole, like you was excited about it. Then when he finally dropped it as a whole, shit was dope. You got Cam opening up for him on the intro, and then the Luigi, you Luigi brother now. Like he had
put an
the
M on your head.
yeah, yeah,
Get
yeah.
your
He
brother
had
now.
that. So I mean, Cole had a lot of fire in terms of coming out on that. Then he had really, really dope features from 21 Savage, Little Baby. Kept up with those guys. You know what I'm saying? Because those two typically come in on your album and steal the show, or at least for that song. You know what I mean? Held his own, did his thing on that. He had Moray on his album as
Mm.
well, in terms of just the Styles P and Pharoah Monch ode to the song that they did a couple years ago. My life is all I have. I like that flip, and then now you go to just the body of the album, which I enjoyed, and that's what Cole is typically known for, filling out an album. You know what I mean? Aside from a few joints for your eyes only, but that's neither here nor there. We talking about his latest project. But yeah, so I enjoyed the body of the album and the end of the album close. I can name a bunch of different ones off of here, but overall, I played that album from the time it came out weekly. Like it was in a rotation, and that doesn't happen often for me in terms of just as much music as we like, as much music as we review. So it stayed in constant rotation. It ended up being my favorite album of last year. I remember vividly putting that at number one at mid-year. I remember putting it number one at the end of the year. So that's where I'm at with that. Then you had Drake follow up in September, and I remember being like, I like this, but it feel like some sauce is missing. You know what I mean? I like the jabs he took on 7 a.m. on Brittle Road. I like the remorse. I like the joint that he had with Jay-Z, even though I feel like, damn, I wanted him to rap with Jay in terms of just the sing songy shit. But for when you look back and listen to it now as a song, it fits perfectly in terms of just them doing their thing. I didn't really like the Future collabs on there. A lot of the sing songy collabs. I think he's getting a little older to be doing dumber songs or songs that really ain't about shit, but he still do them. And I get it. He's a certain aesthetic, but like even the TSU, like it's just certain shit that I wasn't vibing with on there. You know what I mean? It's just certain joints. Like a lot of the sing songy ones to where I just want to vibe to. I wasn't feeling those on this project. You know what I mean? So, I went through the whole entire thing, the joint with 21 Savage and Project Pat. That one is still in the rotation. But I will say upon second, third, fourth listen and just listen to it as I'm preparing for the podcast, I'm like, yo, this isn't as bad as people slammed it last year when they were listening to it in the reviews. And I don't believe we slammed it. I believe I coming across like this is okay, but this is gonna have to be a grower pause, so to speak, for me. And that's really where I was at with Drake. Now for Kendrick, totally, this is a mood music. This is a mood body of work. And it is strictly that it has some bops. Like we said, we just went over this album a couple weeks ago. And those are the ones I'm probably gonna go to more often on the project. But the stuff that is a little bit more heavy, I forget the name of the song where they having an argument where they're saying "fuck you" like the entire song. Get it, love it in terms of what it brought. Auntie Diaries, just all of the deep songs on there in terms of what he's talking about as far as his mom and the uncle and the rape and just like things like that. The heavy nature on there. You don't remember that song?
No, I don't remember none of these songs.
He was asking, his mom was asking him, did the uncle touch him? You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember none of these songs you're talking about.
You don't remember Auntie? Oh, you took it off. You took it off.
I listened at that album my 3 times. Gave my review. I'm never listening at that whole album again. I got a revised cut. That's all I listened to. That revised cut of K-Dot.
I knew you was going there. I was just going.
It's 10 songs. 8 of them is Kendrick. 2 of them gonna got the little interludes with I was surprised to have Kodak on there, Baby Keem. 10 songs, man. What is it? United in Grief, N95, Rich Interlude, Rich Spirit, Purple Heart, Count Me Out, Silent Hill, Savior Interlude, Savior, Mr. Morale. I mean,
the Hard Part 5.
Kendrick surprised me the way he came and just kind of, did the same thing that Drake did, just leave it short, little concise album. I think that's it was 36 minutes. Cole was 39 minutes. I mean, when I compare these albums, like that's they didn't overstay their welcome. They overstay welcome. I know he talked about he was going to do a double disc, but I'm glad that he didn't come out with that, Cash. I'm glad that he decided to, really, hone in on the couple good songs that he had and, put that out.
At this point, y'all, I hope y'all really are catching his sarcasm, because if you're not, this man cannot discount. You cannot rank it up a notch because those songs are on it. So before I know I can see the bullshit coming a mile away. I know he's about to rank this thing somewhere reckless based on his Blueprint 2 version of this album. I know it's coming. So for me, at number 3.
Hold on. Let me go back and speak on these albums just as you did.
Before my number 3. Got it. Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, that as I spoke on the K-Dot, listened at it, the songs that you're missing, I didn't really feel them, kind of took them out. I just been going with the condensed album. That's kind of what I've been, but I got it graded accordingly on all that. So when I look back at it, yeah, it's definitely a mood type music. It got those songs on there that's now as I go through it, that's just skip right off the jump. And that's not good when you're looking at a full body of work, when you got to skip several songs in there. So, and it's just because of the nature of it. Maybe a point in time later on, I'm going through some things. I'm like, I want to hear that, but it's not everyday music to me. Then I'm going to go in reverse order. So you had talked about the Drake Certified Lover Boy, man, 20 songs, 1 hour, 26 minutes. I thought it was a great all the way through. When I play this, I can continue to like play it. I don't get upset. I think he shifts enough throughout the album between the rap, the pop, and the sing songy R&B type stuff. Like he navigates it all pretty well. Where it's just like one smooth little listen. Uh, I really like. I think the standout tracks are him with him and Future. You know, they always team up, make good music together. They had a couple songs on here, so really like those. The TSU. I mean, I love the way he flowed on TSU. I love the In Too Deep, Knife Talk, the I Miss You Too with Kid Cudi. Uh, what was the one where he was talking about Kanye, the 7 a.m. and Birdo? What
Yeah,
was it?
brittle 7 a.m. on Brittle Path.
7 a.m. on Brittle Path. I like that. That showed that he still had a little teeth, you know, between all the sing songy and the love songs and the pop songs. Drake showed that why he, you know, can still be feared a little bit. He gonna come at you. You say something about him or you try to drop something, he ain't gonna just run and hide. So I gotta respect him on that.
What about You Only Live Twice?
What was that?
You don't remember that one ain't on your playlist with Lil Wayne and Rick Ross?
Oh yeah. You only live twice with Lil Wayne. I thought Lil Wayne murked that verse on there.
Yeah, yeah. So listening back to it, you know, that's why I said I had a better appreciation going back to it when you said you wanted to talk about these three albums again, because I'm like, on the Drake joint, these are the songs I have on the Drake or whatever. Even though I said I didn't like some of these songs, but I need it for a balance, right? I'm trying to make a good album, not necessarily every single song I absolutely am in love with. So Champagne Poetry, Love All, 7 a.m. on Brittle Path, No Friends in the Industry, Knife Talk, You Only Live Twice, The Remorse, TSU, In Too Deep, Pipe Down, Yebba's Heartbreak, Brace My Mind, Get Along Better, I Am Y2 with Kid Cudi. And those are the songs that made my version of Drake's project, since it's so fucking long. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of filler on there, but those are the songs that made it, man. And that's quite a few in terms of just the whole album. But I like it. I like my version, but listen to the album in totality, it's not as bad as people let on. So that's that, man. So come on,
Yeah.
Prez. What's your number
One
three?
second. One second. Hold on.
Damn, Rams are giving Aaron Donald 2 years, 60 million extension. Good Lord.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So come on, man. Give me who's number three.
So
With all that
no.
said, who's
I'm
number?
not. I
Oh, you
still
ain't
ain't
done.
got
You
to the
still got.
J Cole. Hey, you cut me
Oh,
out
hey, okay,
with just
okay.
like going. So and then we got J Cole out here. You know, he dropped first, and the style of rapping that he was doing, what he was bringing to it. Man, I just really loved his album. It has great replay value to it, in my opinion. His 12 songs didn't overstay its welcome, as the other two had lengthy albums, 20 plus songs. I think both of them right around that range. Uh, every every bar just seems like what J. Cole was using on here was coming at a point. You know, he was trying to drive home a point. I think even uh, without having, even if Kendrick wasn't going to drop this year, he was making it known that this is what this is. Like I'm coming back for my respect. So I think that was very evident from the intro with Cameron on it, and his usage of the featured artist that he had on here. So yeah, J. Cole, the all season man is one of those that sparked off the year and let everybody else start opening up and dropping music. Because remember, at the beginning of 2021, we was having that drought. So he the one who came and, hey, let's get this going. So and it stayed through it. I constantly go back to this album still. Uh, it's probably one of the albums when I compare it to it, like when I'm comparing and trying to rank any album, I'm like saying, well, how does it stand up against this right here? Especially some of the stuff that we was hearing right off the jump off the K Dot, oh, that Heart Part 5, man, like what he's saying. Oh, it's so like, no, J. Cole been rapping. He been killing it this whole year. I'm gonna compare it to that, to the Johnny P's Caddy. Does it hold a light? You know what I mean? And more often than not, it didn't. It didn't, Cash. So now let's get into the ranking of how we're gonna rank these albums. At
Okay.
number 3, who you got?
For me, it's clearly Drake. It's clearly Drake, and just from the standpoint, I hadn't returned to the Drake like that at all. Like until you mentioned it. So all of the songs and all of the love I got for the album in terms of, okay, this is the first time since probably last year, you know what I'm saying, to where, when we were considering what's going to be an album of the year, what numbers we're going to give certain albums. That's probably the last time I listened to it, around November timeframe, when I'm going through it to see if it's going to make the cut and cut through. It quite didn't cut through my top 10 last year. However, I still thought it was solid. But when we're talking about somebody has to be number 3, and I can honestly say this one was just not like I've heard it before from Drake, but it just didn't keep me around, man. Even with all the good features, man. Like, he had Jay, he had 21, he had um Future, he had some good features on here. Yebba, you know what I mean. He had some good songs on here, but just something about it didn't keep me coming back. And even this song with Ye, or not the diss, but the subliminals and shit like that with Ye. Like, I like that type of spicy talk, but it just didn't keep me. Good body work, and I know people would say, "Oh yeah, you're flip flopping," but going back listening to it, I was like, "Yo, this isn't bad. This isn't bad." Like, you know what I mean? And I actually played it. This playlist that I have, I probably played the album a lot more in the last 2 to 3 weeks than I had probably in any time when it came out. To be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, I sort of feel the same way about the album, but that's not the album that I got number 3. If we talking about albums in the whole, as in the total thing, K Dot clearly goes right here for me. I'm not gonna get caught in no recency bias and everything else. That's why we went back and listened at these. We've been, since we decided to do this, what it's been like 2.5 weeks now. We've been listening at these albums intently, and I'm just, when I listen to it in a whole, that Mr. Ryle and Mr. Big's what
And the
the
big
Big
steppers.
Steppers.
And the big
Oh
steppers.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It got too much on there that I just like. Oh man, I don't want to hear this. I want to hear this again. I want to hear this. Uh, I will put a caveat up in there. I'll come back to that later. But I got a slight caveat with that. But yeah, when I'm looking at that, and when I go through the Drake, when I go through the J. Cole, I listen. They don't have lulls in them. Everything goes, it flows. So I'm listening at everything up here. I may don't like certain songs as much as another one, but all of it is I can play through. I can kind of flow. I know you ain't like the Too Sexy song with Future when it came on, but I can deal with it for the short amount that is on. Then bam, it comes back in, and he ain't got too much more of that on the album. You know what I mean? It's just that one kind of like off in left field. He's trying out some things, fun in the club or whatever he was thinking about, and then gets right back into it. And then they have that uh, they had the In Too Deep right on there, right after that. I mean, so and I think that kind of like resets my palette for them two on the track. So yeah, it was good, man. I still like the Way Too Sexy song too for what it is. You know, it's a popular song. So the intro. When you was going here, you had 5 minutes of Drake kind of rapping, and then with the beat changes, you know, kind of getting that very reminiscent of like Tuscan Leather, you know what I mean? That one. So this probably ain't Drake's best project, but I kind of see where you're going on this and how you can kind of go away from it. But K Dot is the one that clearly sits at number 3 for totality of an album
So I'm
and
in.
what he delivered. It's just a mood type music, man. That's gonna be one of those things that and maybe something that grows on people over time and everything. But as of right now, when I'm listening at these and I play them through, that's the one I'm just like, nah. Now my
I can see
caveat is
that.
going to be my revised version, that 10 songs. When I listen at that, he kills it. He kills it.
Okay.
So
So
I really like that. If I was only comparing that to these, man, we got a different type of talk that we're gonna have to have on these, and I'm really gonna have to nail down and differentiating these. But as it stands, full album,
you
K
put out
dot,
what you put up. You put out what you
K
put
dot,
out.
K dot, K dot falls number 3 for me.
Yeah, you put out what you put
Now,
out.
with that said, I'm never listening at that full album again. I don't care what you say. 20 years from now, I'm going to listen at my revised version. I remember what this album is like.
Oh.
That's what I'm going to do. So, K Dot ain't lost nothing in my eyes. That revised version, that 10 songs, man, I have played that. Like, I'd have played that a lot while at work and, you know, in the earphones. And like, yeah, I like that version.
I feel you. I feel you. Like I feel you going with the condensed version, and I'd like to hear how you feel about your rankings with the condensed version after we get off
Okay.
of the full version, because that does make it a lot closer when you do that. But for the sake of this argument, we'll keep it to the full length. So the same way you feel about the Drake, to where you do like some of the more popular songs to kind of provide a balance to the palette of your listening. That's the same way I feel about K Dot. But like I said in the review of it, I like what K Dot talking about. I like that emo shit. I like when you go there. I like when you keep it real and you keep it authentic. You tell your story. And yes, it may not be for everybody else. It may be just kind of like he did into Pimp a Butterfly, where same fanfare, to where it's like, damn, this album's pretty heavy. But I like heavy albums. Like, you know what I mean? That's fine for me. Whenever I do want to listen to that, I know I'm gonna listen to it damn near all the way through. And that's kind of what I've done with this project. And then some of the songs, to where you even joke like, what song is that? Those songs are on my playlist still. And that's majority of the project. You know what I'm saying? Like, out of the what he has, 18 tracks on there. 2 of them he's not on, so that means 16. I, out of the 16, I probably have 14 or 13 on there. So that's a high batting average, man. That's a high average no matter how you cut it.
You said four. What'd you say it again?
So it's 18 tracks total, right? He has
Mm-hmm.
2 interludes, so to speak, with Kodak and Keem on there. So you take that down to 16. So it's literally 16 songs. And out of those 16 songs, I probably have 13 on my playlist. That I
Okay.
actually like. So we're gonna go with 13 out of 16. Let's just say 13 out of 16. Heavy songs or not, I enjoy them. You know what I mean? So that's why it's number 2 for me. And in a grand scheme of things, long term, this album's gonna be remembered way more than that Drake album will ever be remembered. This will be a blip on Drake's radar in terms of any of the hit records or what Drake is typically known for. This K Dot album, people gonna come back to this. You know what I mean? And just be like, damn, this is a great body of work whenever they get back to it. But you can't front on it, to me, in totality. So that's why K Dot is number 2 for me.
Man, that full album I came from on that thing was no, it wasn't good. Cash. It's 10 songs
we
out of 18 that you named, or 16 or whatever. So
we
my
agree
number
to
two would
disagree
be
for the second
Drake,
time.
the Certified Lover Boy. This is 20 songs. It's an hour and 26 minutes. It's commanding a lot of your time. Drake want to be on your like. He want to be what you listen to the full day kind of little deal. So kind of what it goes on there. I was 16 songs in before I reached a song that I didn't like. That was the Fountains featuring Teams. Like I didn't care for that.
16.
Uh,
You was 16, eh?
I was 16 songs in before I reached a song I didn't care for, and I was just like, "Nah, I'm not really
Oh
feeling
shit.
this." So, and then after that, I would say he had one other track that was an interlude. So I got 18 out of 20 songs on here that I liked. So, and I'm not gonna count the interlude. So 18 out of 20, that's a hell of a
Can you repeat that one more time?
good
I want
18 out
this
of
on
20.
I want this on record.
He
18.
had one that interlude. I didn't like the Fountains. Everything else on here I liked, I enjoyed, I constantly play. Unlike you saying like it hasn't been in the rotation as much. Like it has been one of those albums I constantly like come back to, and I enjoy. So uh, I know that was, but everybody was kind of caught up in the hype, and it's going to get placed where it was placed because the person outside of these three that we're talking about, that was because of the Kanye, him coming at Kanye, and them releasing their albums right there. They kind of pit themselves against each other, and everybody picked a side on that. And I don't think they really enjoyed the album for what it was. But hey, like I said, 18 out of 20 tracks. Drake came out there and did it, man. The intro, Poppy's Home, Girls Want Girls with the dumbass hook, but a little baby floats on that, so it's all good. Fair Trade, featuring Travis Scott, Way Too Sexy. That's one that I know not gonna go for everybody, but it's one
Nah.
of those that's okay. TSU was like the number one track on that for me. Into Deep, featuring Future, Knife Talk, You Only Live Twice, with Rick Ross and Lil Wayne, and I Miss You Too, featuring Kid Cudi. And then the way he ended it off too, man, the
The
fucking
remote.
fans.
Yeah.
That's a funny track, man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, it's all three of these albums. All three of these albums are solid in their own way, man. Like I can't say nothing super negative about it. I think we're nitpicking, of course, because that's what we do. In terms of just creating content and talking about albums, like we do this anyway as far as music, so it is what it is. But yeah, I can see. I think we just flip flop on how we feel about the outliers within the album. You know what I mean? In terms of Drake and Kendrick. So I feel it. I feel it. I understand. I understand. So clearly at number
Number
one,
one.
we both have
Number
Cole.
one for us.
We both
It's
have
Cole.
Cole still.
So
It, less is
so all
more.
the all
Less
the
is
K dot
more.
all the K dot fans and stands and all like, man, y'all really need to go back and listen at this. And this is what I'm going to compare him to, his true competition. This was coming out, and J. Cole was not slipping on this, man. He came out with that. Hey, he won his respect from the jump all the way, and it's sprinkled throughout this album. Quotables. He upped his game on his lyricism, and it has showed in features since then. It has showed on his compilation albums with the rest of his crew. He hasn't let up since he released this right here.
He in the
We may
zone.
sit here and joke about For Your Eyes Only, but he is dead set on saying, like, you ain't gonna sit here and remember me or just bait a hound on that. I'm gonna give you the music and I'm gonna push it forward. And I
Yeah.
think that was the way he was doing that year when he first came out, was trying to push music and lyricism back up to that forefront. And yeah, man, uh, Drake couldn't stand up. Obviously, K Dot didn't stand up to it. A year later, coming out, and man, it was a couple jabs I caught up in here too. We're gonna talk about it in some of these songs. If you don't mind, I like to go
No, no,
through
no.
like some
But
of these
I
songs
do I
and
do
like
want to bring something to your attention. He's no longer folding clothes. You know what he's folding? He's
what.
folding these motherfucking rappers up. He coming for smoke every single time he come out since this album. Like a little bit before the album, he went on that feature run with the Return of the Dreamers Revenge of the Dreamers Part 3 from that little camp thing they ran all the way up until now, Cole been on a tear. And this project again, man, less is more. 12 joints. He has storytelling on there with punching the clock, the climb back. He has just rapping his ass off with the interlude and the intro. Close is another one. Let go my hand, my life. Amiri, like you got every single type of mood in it, and it bounce. It's some bounce in it too. This you can't say this is the boring Cole, which is you hear often out there in terms of just slander. But this shit jam from beginning to end. You know what track I left off this album, though, Prez?
What?
Not near one. See, you see the rest of them, we had to keep something and all this shit, but we didn't have to do all that here. There's no over explaining of why.
And it was for the intro, man. 95 South, like Cole told
like
you where he was coming on. The little line that you already spoke on. Well, he said pointed out the aim and proceeded to destroy. Then they had the line that you pointed out. Could have put an M on your head. Now you Luigi brother now. Bitch, my pen to the paper is lethal. I'm sending them straight to meet that nigga that made the Pete the Reaper. Yeah, so
yeah,
bullets be humming like Cuddy.
Hey,
but
man.
One of your hoodies spaghetti splashing. Yeah, so I mean, so one of your hoodies spaghetti splashing. Was that a kind of a relation to M? I wanted that.
I didn't. I gotta hear it again. I gotta hear it again on beat and on track. Yeah. I gotta hear it again.
The way he had Lil Jon at the end of that song, so he had Cameron narrating it through. Then you have Lil Jon on there, like, and if you know Lil Jon in the club back in the day, man, just getting it hype, and he'd say that reckless shit at the end of it, just like, if you don't want to throw it up, get the fuck up out the club and stuff like this. So he kind of, like I was saying, like he came out setting the tone, like, hey, if you ain't about this, your ass need to go home, go to bed. Don't be talking about you the best, because this me.
Yeah, so like you said, man, overall, this is dope, man. 100 million. I'm still on the grind. Like, I remember just how much I like this album, and it had been probably maybe maybe a month since I probably picked any of this up on my playlist from anywhere, but now this shit is firmly back in my playlist as if it came out this year. You know what I mean? So it's firmly back in there, and it doesn't sound like, oh, okay, that was the album of last year. No, this sounds like, okay, this is why this was my album of last year, because it's still competing with shit that's coming out this year. You know what I'm saying? So that's
and he dropped several hints throughout this album that I felt like he kind of was talking to Kendrick and was dropping stuff and kind of telling us what was going on. And he seen this opportunity and he was just gonna take out right off the song Amari. Like, if you remember, it starts off, let's work, plot my escape. This game rot a nigga's faith. You know what I mean? Like, hey, Kendrick going through his shit, can't write and stuff like this, right? Kill him on a song, walk up in the booth, do the Westbrook rocker baby. Like,
yo, like, and then the other thing about it is, like, yo, this okay for these guys to have competition too, right? Like, I think that they all respect each other, like, because they've all never really disrespected each other on track. Like, these three in particular, you know what I mean? They've said what they said. Kendrick, when he had his little run, when he was saying reckless shit, before he would drop a project, he would have dropped the heart or say something kind of crazy to get the world going in terms of what type of time he was on. But all in all, I've never really heard any of them send any direct shots. I mean, you got Drake courtside at J. Cole's one of his professional basketball games here recently with a Cole jersey on. Like, I think they all rock with each other, but music wise, it's competition, right? Like, it's fun competition to see who could put out some dope shit. And I could guarantee you, Prez, that when you really break it down and bust down the lines, that's what these guys do. Like, the top tier guys, they're motivated by each other. Like, who else would they be motivated by? You know what I mean? Like, you know you're dope. At a certain point, you arrive.
So you saying that he didn't? You're saying that he didn't, and I'm going back listening at this, and it was like on Hunger on Hillside. He had a line up in there. Like I'm saying, did he know? Did he know, Cash? Did
I
he
don't
know what
know.
Cole? Did he know what K Dot was going through?
I don't know. I don't know if Cole would
Fighting off
go
this
that
hunger
low.
for hours. Big stepper. Nigga don't get stepped on.
That big stepper. That big stepper. It resonates now because of the name of the album, but that big stepper term has been a term. So I think it's just if it fits, it fits. If you want to make it fit, but it was before the time, man. It's before the time. I don't think Cole.
Did
He ain't know that was gonna be the name of the album that far in advance.
he? Did he?
Conspiracy theory Prez, man.
On 100 mil, you know what we're gonna get into next when he talk about this Mount Rushmore. He firmly said, "I'm on Mount Rushmore. You can't front on no more, bitch. I'm on rain." So,
Hey,
so he's firmly planting himself on there. I think. Besides For Your Eyes Only, when we go back and look at his catalog, which we didn't did on here before.
first album too.
Cash
First
put the
album's
episode.
an indictment, but it's
You
kind of
don't
like
like his first album?
It's kind of like why I like it. I like it,
Mm-hmm.
but when I sit back and step out of my personal preference and go into like when we having these talks amongst each other that really listen to these albums in real time and how they impacted the culture and what they really were. That first album.
But I think that first album, you gotta understand that first album.
I know what he was up
to
against.
truly grasp this album right here. Because what did he tell you on that first album?
I know he was.
All he got is what? All he got is what?
I don't
A dollar in a dream. A dollar in a dream, Cash. But you know what now? He got 100 mil, and guess what?
He's still
on his grind.
But the thing is, like it was super. It was super different in terms of the mixtapes and everything you got from Cole too. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like, damn, you got a lot more of these. But I did like the joint that he had with Missy Elliott on there. You know,
mm-hmm. I still like that.
I like that. Like so, and then like people had a lot of like. I'm not trying to
the Crooked Smile that you're talking about.
Crooked Smiles with the TLC joint. And I think that's on the second project. But the
no, Crooked Smile was on the first one.
I don't think Crooked Smile was on the first one. No,
I'm not, pretty sure Crooked Smile was on the first one.
Let's pause and take a look. Nah, Crooked Smile is on Born Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on Born Center, and the song I'm referencing is Nobody's Perfect with Missy Elliott.
Yeah.
So, but again, I think this was the first album. He had to play ball and do what he had to do, but still, you have A Dollar in the Dream Part 3 on here. The Can't Get Enough song with Trey Songz. Like, you know, it's stuff like that people, or Mr. Nice Watch with Jay-Z, like, you know, so, but yeah, man, the rest of it, Workout was another one people didn't really care for too much. I enjoyed Workout. But it is what it is, man. So, but yeah, so
I think what we're getting out here, man, J. Cole, clearly out of these 3 albums, man, I feel like it's still the top of this. I think he cemented himself. Like, so when we're going back and looking at these 3 right now, when you're sitting here and you're talking about them, just mention Cole name first, because as it stands right now, when they went up in competition against each other within 1 year, J. Cole came out the victor. Could change up next year. This shit just like any season of any sport, you know what I mean? And you on top this year, can you repeat again? That's what we're gonna try to see. So just because he's up there this year, don't mean that he get to stay up there. But he's firmly up there right now, so show him his respect.
Please in the comments, if you disagree in the comments. Let us know where you think that these 3 albums rank, why, and we'll chop it up with you. Maybe we bring you on the podcast sometime if you really want to hop on the podcast and you want to defend Drake or K Dot's honor in terms of being number 1, and you have something that we have overlooked in terms of our analysis, we love to have you on.
Bruh, no, we gotta set some stages though. Hey, you gotta be I ain't going with somebody who's just like a diehard fan and don't really like respect true hip. So that means if your picture is of Drake or something like that, or we go in there, have your Instagram posts or all just this one person's song, it's no reason to argue. Obviously you got some type of affinity towards this person more than anybody else. You can't be it's hard for you to be unbiased on that,
Yeah,
that'd
unbiased,
just be like me going
unbiased
up here
review.
telling you, trying to actually be honest when I'm talking about the Raiders. Shit ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna see it through my eyes. They're the best team. We've been
16 and 0.
robbed
Kelly
for
Robinson, 16 and 0, baby. 17 and 0. 17 and 0. Yeah, man. But yeah, don't yeah, definitely be a realist. Come on, being a realist, and we'll vet you appropriately, man. So y'all let us know what y'all feel about it.